If we look to the innovation pieces that you've been involved with, specifically TravelPort, be interesting to sort of see what journeys you've been on, things that maybe have worked out, maybe things that not so much. But are there any sort of key takeaways?
Well, I think the first key takeaway for me was just understand what you're doing as a technologist when you're going to the board level about the business. And everybody started talking about fourth industrial revolution or the experience economy, or you name it. There's all the big buzzwords out there, or digital as a whole. Yeah. But what does that mean to your business? And the first thing we did was say, right, digital to our business. There's a lot of technologies putting together, and digital is about them interacting with each other and becoming part of the same play. So which technologies are influencing our business the most? May not every business, but our business. So we picked up 5 key technologies: the Internet of Things, mobile, artificial intelligence, big data and data analytics, and cloud. Yeah. And the reason we picked that up from a traveller perspective is you want to interact with the world around you, so the Internet of Things is important. You interact through your mobile device. So your mobile device is you in the Internet of Things. And then the AI, the applications on your platform, on your mobile device, that give you wayfinding, the next best action, personalisation. But that artificial intelligence in those apps is only driven from the data. Yeah. So the big data is really important, the understanding of the data to drive the artificial intelligence. And it's all become possible now, we claim, because of the abundance of compute. So you've got the abundance of hybrid cloud technology, and the abundance of compute in the person's pocket as well on the mobile device. And you put those together, and those 5 forces of digital we saw changing. So looking at that, we said, what does that mean to us as a business going forward? And what innovation strategically do we need to draw out? So we started seeing travel is very siloed. You book a hotel here, you book a flight here. But as a traveller, you're going on a journey, you want it combined. But they're all in different ledgers, and they're all owned by different people. So we started experimenting with blockchain. Yeah. Is blockchain a good way of joining up data sources that are desperate? And of course, the interesting thing about blockchain itself is just another database as far as I'm concerned. Definitely. But the interesting thing about it, it's a database for a distributed ledger. So if you've got a distributed ledger problem, maybe applying blockchain is useful. So we had some experience with blockchain. We did quite an interesting one, what we call low-cost content. So B&B, Segway tours and things like that. Yeah. And the interesting thing about that, putting them on a blockchain allowed you to do settlement with smart contracts very effectively, take cost out. However, the marketing angle, trying to take that to market, proved very difficult. So whilst we learned a lot about it, and the model was brilliant, we couldn't actually find how to take it to market. But in the heart of that, we saw a settlement solution that would settle hotel settlement commissions. Oh, okay. And we've gone to market actually with the hotel settlement commissions. So what we tended to find out with innovation, it informs you and you learn from it. Yeah. But it may not be taking you may not end up where you want to end up, but you may come out with something else out of it. So we've done a lot of innovation around those type of things, innovation around journey planning, the best routing to get from A to B using artificial intelligence, blockchain, using graph databases and things like that. And it's all that's informing us what's possible. And I think the interesting thing about technology is you've got to play with it to understand whether it's possible, whether it's scalable. Because some people are saying, well, blockchain is going to change the whole airline industry because you're going to put... At the moment, its speed and its cost isn't. And you can model that out quite far in the future, actually, and say, no, that is something that's okay in a niche here, but isn't going to disrupt us here. And you can start seeing what is going to disrupt us and what isn't going to disrupt us going forward. Yeah,
I think that's a great approach, because ultimately you're dabbling with these things that you know will be really important to you. But instead of going into it saying, I want to build X, Y, Z, and I want it to be the best thing ever, it's a case of, well, actually, this could be really good for us. And then you're learning from it. And when you face those challenges in the future, it's not a case of, oh, we need to start from scratch. You've already learnt your lesson, haven't you?
Yeah, and it can inform your direction. And I think the thing we've done, and innovation, everybody wants to innovate. They think it's the best thing to do. But what is innovation? It's not invention. So we're not inventing something. Innovation is normally about taking ideas that already exist and putting them together in different ways and building on it. And it's evolution of change as opposed to actually invention of change. And so what we've done is very heavily looked at our key strategies. What areas of the business are we focusing on and moving forward, and build our innovation portfolio around that. Yeah. It's no innovating in a space that we're not in. because you're innovating in a business model maybe that won't happen. So we've been very keen about making sure our innovation and strategic are aligned. So at the top level of the organisation, we can see value out of the innovation. Because having an innovation pipeline that doesn't actually add any value, it doesn't help. And architects in the past, I think, have got, often writing papers that are irrelevant to the business.
Yeah.
Actually getting involved in, ideas that actually aren't driving business value, and innovation that's exciting but doesn't actually drive the business forward. And I think you've got to very quickly learn when you're going to stop an innovation, move to something else and change direction to keep it relevant to the business. And we've kept our innovation portfolio based on three things, really. One is to excite. So let's have something that excites our customers and excites our staff. One, to inform ourselves, and that's what I've talked a lot about, how do we inform ourselves about technologies and the rest. And the other is to really help us engage with people. Can we use it to actually pull out different forms of engagement with people, innovate with data and things like that, so we can engage with our customers very different in a different way. So we've used very, very heavily innovation in that space. But at some point you have to stop an innovation and say, it now goes into the portfolio. And if it doesn't make the portfolio, stop it. Too many people, because it becomes a passionate idea, keep it going for too long. And I think, and it mustn't be the heart of your architecture team. Innovation is not something also that you create a group called innovation. So, and that's been very important to me. Innovation's been something that all my architects do. They either do it, we have an idea, and they can volunteer and join that team and innovate for a bit. They can bring an idea forward and start it forward, or they can bring innovation into their line of business where they're actually working. Or they can take innovation from somebody else's line of business and bring it in. So we try to keep them all doing a little bit on top of their day job to keep them experimenting, not have a separate team called the innovation team. As it's, innovation is not something that just one or two people do.